I'm Jay.
And I'm John.
And we're Bucket List Travellers.
And today we're taking you on a walking tour of Esteli, Nicaragua.
We're starting our walking tour today from Casa Vinculos. So this is where we stayed during our time in Esteli.
I really liked this hotel. The rooms were quite spacious and very comfortable, very modern. I did find that accommodation in Esteli seems to be a bit more expensive than other parts of Nicaragua.
Yeah.
The place that we stayed at was really nice. The internet speeds were really good, which was a big bonus.
Yeah, so when we say good, that was around 20 megabits a second. So that's really good in Nicaragua.
Yeah, we were going on, 8 megabits a second download and 1 or 2 upload when we were in Granada. So that made uploading these videos to the internet quite a time-consuming process.
The inclusive breakfasts at Casa Vinculos were awesome as well.
So you had a choice of a few different breakfast options. Generally, it was a combination of some type of egg, maybe a bit of ham, cheese, tortillas,
Gallo Pinto.
gallo pinto, and juice and coffee. And coffee in Esteli is really good. So we're in the coffee growing region here, and you've got all sorts of different coffee producers around here. So yeah, the coffee, we have been addicted to coffee ever since we came to Nicaragua. The quality is really good. There's a lot of really nice cafes around Esteli as well.
Yeah, Esteli's got a really good cafe scene. So on most corners you'll find cafes. It's really cool. It was one of the things we loved most about Esteli.
Yeah, one of our favourites was near the Central Park. And that was one that's just been opened up recently. It was called Coffee Hub, and it was actually opened just that week that we visited. And we talked to the owner. He's a really nice guy. And his wife is actually the owner of another coffee shop that we went to in Matagalpa.
And that was our favourite coffee place in Matagalpa. So that was an interesting coincidence.
Yeah. Well, maybe not so much a coincidence. It must run in the family.
Yep, they know how to make good coffee and great food.
So here we've got a second-hand store you can just see on the left. So second-hand stores in Nicaragua are quite common, and a lot of the second-hand clothes come imported from the US.
Esteli is known as the Diamond of the Segovia. So the Segovia region of Nicaragua covers the 5 northern departments of Nicaragua. So that's Esteli, Jinotega, Madrid, Matagalpa, and Nueva Segovia.
So this region, it's got a really pleasant climate. So it's up in the mountains, it's quite mild, and if you're looking to escape the heat in Nicaragua, it's a really lovely area.
Esteli is probably most famous for its cigar making. The land around Esteli is just optimal for growing tobacco, which is used in cigars. And the town became a refuge for Cuban cigar makers after the Cuban Revolution in 1959.
Yeah, so the industry's really flourished around here, and Esteli would have to be one of the top tobacco producing areas in the world, would you say?
Yeah, arguably, they go head to head with Cuban cigars. And there's a lot of tourism to Esteli just to tour around the cigar factories and experience the Esteli cigars.
So if you're interested in cigars, then Esteli is definitely the place to come.
For sure.
And along with that, the restaurant scene is really good in Esteli.
Yeah, we had an amazing time here, just hopping from restaurant to restaurant, eating both local restaurants and also international cuisine.
Yeah, they've got such a wide range, and the quality is so good.
Yeah, if you like your steaks, then Esteli has the best steakhouses in Nicaragua.
Oh, definitely. And if you want to find out more about the best restaurants in Esteli and where to get those good steaks, then check out our video on our foodie tour of Esteli. We're passing a set of murals now, and one thing I really love about Esteli is its art scene. So you can see so much street art around Esteli, and it's really, really interesting street art as well.
There was one street art in particular that we had seen photos and images of all around Esteli, but we couldn't actually find the actual mural. It was La Veronera, and
Oh, we found it eventually, but it took us a while. We went on a big hunt to try and find
yeah,
it.
it was like a treasure hunt.
Yeah.
Ironically, we found the artist of La Veronera before we found the actual mural. So that was really cool. We met, I believe his name was Julio. He was a really lovely guy. There was an art school in the middle of town, just near the cathedral. There was a little art exhibition there. And then we got to walk into a classroom where there were students creating art right in front of us.
Yeah, and the artist showed us around and explained some of his paintings to us. So, yeah, it's a really nice experience. Yeah, so we've got a shoe store here. Quite a lot of stores around here. Another store that's very popular in Nicaragua is El Gallo Mas Gallo, which is an electronics store that you can see off to the right there.
Yeah, it translates to the rooster, more rooster. So,
I don't know exactly what that means, but he looks very strong and formidable.
yeah, so you can get all your electronics and white goods, and you can even buy motorcycles in here as well.
So, motorcycles are a popular way to get around in Nicaragua. There's quite a big range of vehicles, and some are animal based and some are motor based. Horses are very popular in Nicaragua, and there's the Ipica Festival, which is a horse festival. So, the horse culture is very strong in Nicaragua. As well as that, you've got the tuk-tuks to get around, you've got taxis, you've got buses and minivans, every type of vehicle you can think of or mode of transport, Nicaragua's got it. So we would have loved to have stayed in Esteli for longer, but one thing we found quite surprising was there didn't seem to be that many short-term rentals available in the area.
Yeah, that was a challenge, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we did have quite a big look around. We looked around on expat forums, and it seemed like furnished rental properties weren't really a thing around here. And we did even roam the streets and look for any se renta signs, like for rent. And we did talk to one person, but it wasn't a furnished place that he had available. It was only unfurnished, which unfortunately wasn't something that we needed a bed to sleep in.
There were a couple of Airbnbs, like when I say a couple, I meant
Like two.
2 or 3 in the whole town. Most of them were outside of town as well, or maybe 5 kilometers out of town. So it wasn't really that convenient for.
A couple of miles.
Yeah, so if you're quite entrepreneurial, one business idea would be to set up a few fully furnished Airbnbs in this city, and I think you would do extremely well. Esteli is in a prime agricultural region, and so in addition to tobacco growing, there's cattle, there's other grains, as well as a lot of cheese. You can find a lot of cheese making in these parts.
Yeah, and I was quite surprised to find Swiss cheese is produced in this area. So there's actually a small community called La Ganancha, which is just, I think, about 15 kilometers from Esteli, so not too far at all. And it's up in the mountains. It's a really charming little village, and they've got a cheese making factory, they've got some goats, they've got a lot of artisan workshops. And it's just one street that runs down the town. They've got some Swiss-style houses, and it's a really charming area. It's a great place to come to just spend an afternoon walking around and looking at all the cute little boutique shops that they've got.
The general area is Reserva Natural Tizi, and we spent a couple of days up there just getting back to nature. It was really nice. And there's also Miraflor, which is on the other side and up in the mountains as well. And
Other side of Esteli.
yeah, and the other side of Esteli. and we spent about a week there at a farm. It was really nice, and
Yeah, very rural. Getting there was quite interesting. The roads really become quite rocky and interesting to navigate. I think our bus actually went over streams and stuff like that to get there, so it's a bit of a bumpy ride. And coming into Esteli, our bus broke down. We got there in the end. It's all part of the adventure, isn't it?
oh, it certainly is. And that's one of the great things about the Nicaragua transport system. You can get buses pretty much anywhere. Just amazing.
And really cheaply as well. So to get around, it's maybe like $1 US for an hour bus ride.
Oh,
So-
like I think we paid that for like 2 to 3 hours bus ride. So yeah, it's very cheap. Right now we're approaching the Central Park, or Parque Central.
So we were quite lucky that there was a festival here when we were here in Esteli, and it was the Festival de las Artes. This festival was showcasing local tourism in Nicaragua, so domestic tourism.
There were displays from each department of Nicaragua, and they brought what they were known for to display for everyone else. So different types of foods, different types of arts and crafts. It was really, really fascinating to see, and it was great that it gave you a taste of every part of Nicaragua, and there's so much variety and difference amongst all the different departments. So one such department that we never got the chance to visit was the Caribe.
So North and South Caribbean
Yeah.
sections of Nicaragua.
What fascinated us the most was the dancers from the Caribe.
Yeah, they're so vibrant and energetic and got such rhythm to them. It was really, really amazing seeing them perform.
So in addition to these stalls, there was also performances in the afternoon and into the evening. The Caribe dancers were certainly the highlight for us.
Yeah, definitely. So we're about halfway through our walking tour of Esteli, and this is actually one of many videos that we've made of Esteli and of Nicaragua, and one of many more that will come in future. And if you like what you've seen so far, then be sure to subscribe to our channel.
Oh, there's some rosquillas.
Yeah, so rosquillas are a type of pastry, would you call it? Or biscuit. Quite sweet. Apparently it goes nicely with nice cup of coffee. We did not realize that at the time, so we had ours dry, but in retrospect, that makes a lot of sense to have it with coffee.
So Jinotega is a department that's pretty close to Esteli. I think it's right next to Esteli. And they're also known for their coffee, and I think there's chocolate growing as well, cacao growing.
Oh yeah, chocolate in Nicaragua is really nice. It's quite expensive though, but it's premium.
Yeah. Now, this section freaked me out a little bit. I'm so scared of snakes. And this was from Matagalpa department, and it was an exotic pets exhibit. So you could get snakes as pets. A little bit different, but it got a lot of attention, as you can see all the people around here. So that was a very interesting stall.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to see pythons and stuff in the middle of a fair. It was definitely a crowd pleaser.
Yeah, for sure. If you want to learn more about the Festival de las Artes, we've made a whole video dedicated to the festival, so make sure you check that out.
Not only all the dancing and the stores, but it also has food tasting, because there was a lot of tasty food at that fair as well.
Yeah. Just ahead of us you have the soundstage, so that's where all the dancers and bands were on in the afternoon. Now we're just turning into the Central Park itself. Yeah, it's a really nice, pretty park, very spacious. There's some play equipment off to your left.
Yeah, one thing that Nicaragua does really well is its central parks. So every city and town has its own central park area. There's usually a church or cathedral next to it. It's a really nice community space, usually quite green and leafy, lots of shade, nice places to sit. And it's a place where you can come and have an ice cream, do some people watching.
Yeah, it was great
And-
for people watching.
Yeah, just really nice, relaxed atmosphere.
Yeah, and I just love the use of colours around the Central Parks. It's usually things are painted really colourfully, using reds and greens and yellows. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just,
very vibrant.
It's really vibrant, and you get those similar themes in pretty much any Central Park that you go to in Nicaragua.
And you can see the church off in the distance. Now, what's this church called?
This church is called Catedral Nuestra Señora del Santísimo Rosario, or Our Lady of the Most Holy Rosary Cathedral.
It's quite a mouthful.
It is quite a mouthful. And so, in this church is an image or statue of Our Lady of the Rosary of Esteli, and the sculpture is believed to have come from the 17th century from Europe. And there are a couple of stories as to how it got to Esteli. One such story is that it was first sent from Europe over to Nicaragua to live in Nueva Segovia, an earlier city further north in Nicaragua, but then it eventually made its way to Esteli. The other story that we read was that it was supposed to go to Leon, however, things got mixed up and it ended up in Esteli.
Which isn't that close. It's quite a few hours away.
It is a fair few hours away.
You can see here some traditional dresses from the different departments in Nicaragua, or the traditional costumes. And what I love about them is they're always so vibrant and so colourful. And you often see them, the traditional costumes, coming out in festivals and when there are dances and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so the one we passed for Carazo, they were setting up the costumes for El Huehuense, which is the seminal play of Nicaragua. So that involves El Huehuense, and there's Macho Raton, who's the horse-like figure, and they're emblematic of Nicaragua. It tells the story of a clever trickster who worked his way around the Spanish governors of the time, using his wits and command of both Spanish and his native language.
There are common themes in Nicaraguan folklore around the Nicaraguan people using their wit and skill to outsmart their Spanish conquerors. So you can see in more produce stores here, and that big pile of white things there is cheese. So local cheese is often sold on the streets around Nicaragua. It keeps really well unrefrigerated, which is quite handy for transporting, and it's very tasty and quite salty.
We hope you enjoyed this walking tour of Esteli, Nicaragua.
We are Bucket List Travellers.
See you next time.